Hello, everyone, and happy Sunday. I hope that you guys are enjoying your Sunday evening, and I hope that the lighting is much better. I changed locations in the house, so hopefully, this is much better for you. I wanted to jump on today because I want to speak with you all about a topic that I started writing this morning. And it's a two-part, so I wanted to jump in on today to give you the first part of it. I'm going to be speaking about control. The kids controlling the household, control in relationships, control in marriages, and control in friendships. That's what we're going to be talking about. I'm going to be hitting on, especially on part 2, about control with relationships, marriages, and friendships that are one-sided relationships. Control. Tonight I'm going to be talking on the topic of kids controlling the household. I thought that we would jump in, get the kids out the way, go ahead and talk about them first, and then we can get on to with our relationships and our marriages and friendships that some of us without kids that we deal with mostly, and then some of us with children, we're dealing with it all. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. I'm going to read some points here that I have, some little bullet points in reference to kids controlling the household, okay? 1, and I know I'm jumping right in because I know I don't want to be long-winded, and it's Sunday. You can go enjoy the rest of your evening. So, number 1, kids controlling the household. Kids playing the parents against each other. Number 2, one parent choosing sides with the child. I'm going to read that again. Number 2, one parent choosing sides with the child. You know your child, and you know the person that you have children with. Don't allow the child to cause confusion, to manipulate the parents to get their own way. We all know when it's sincere and when it's not. In my opinion, instead of choosing sides with the child, we should analyze the issue, research the issue, especially when you're dealing with someone co-parenting outside of the household. Research the issue and talk with the other parent first before passing judgment. Now let's stop right there. Because in a lot of cases, we don't consult with the other parent first. We're talking with the child, asking them, well, what happened? The reason why I say that we should talk to the parent first, 1, because it's respect. You have to respect the person that you had a child with. So you need to speak with them first. Ask their point of view on whatever is going on. Ask them to tell you if there was an issue, what happened. As my mother used to say all the time, an adult don't have no reason to lie on a child. They don't have no reason to lie. Why would they have to lie on a child? That child is not equal to them. That child, if they did something, in some cases, well, in the majority of the cases, I'm going to tell you that the parent or the adult in the situation is going to tell you exactly how it went down with this child. And you don't want to pass judgment. The child come in, mama, daddy, or whoever the child is talking to at that time and tell you that something went down and they had to be disciplined or they had to be corrected or that parent had to address something with them that they did not like for whatever reason, you need to go to the adult first. Tell them, okay, hold up, baby, give me one moment. Let me call your mama. Let me call your daddy. You need to talk to them first. This is huge for marriages and co-parenting. The child should not see and hear the parents not being on one accord. Another reason why you need to call the parent first. That child need to see you guys have each other back. You can't play games with me. You're not going to play games with your father. And they need to see you when you say, and they need to hear you. Okay, son, daughter, I hear what you're saying. Let me go call your mother. Let me go call your father. First, so that child knows that there is a respect level there with the parents. This is something a lot of us has dealt with or is currently dealing with. Okay. Next bullet point. One parent confiding with the child or expressing themselves about the marriage issues, arguments in front of or in conversation with the child. And this goes for your adult children as well. What I'm basically saying here is leave the children out of the marriage, out of the conversation that you need to have in reference to them. Leave them out the marriage, period. Because in a lot of cases, I hear, especially with mothers, I hear them say, oh, I talk to my kids about everything. Because we want our children to talk to us about everything. Yo, I get it. But they are still learning a lot. So they need to speak with us about everything so that we can teach and we can guide them. But as far as us, as being the parent, we do not need to confide in this child or how we personally feel with the person we have children with. You cannot put your experience with that person on them children, on them kids. You can't do that. I mean, you can, but it's going to cause you a lot of turmoil. That's a rough word to say, but it's going to cause you a lot of issues on down the line with the child. Issues that I don't think that you even want to be addressing for years and years and years, because that escalates a lot of issues for years and years. You can't put your personal experience or how you personally feel about the mother or the father of your child. That child has to deal with their own experience. Even if the way you feel it are facts. Because we're not perfect. We all got issues. Some of us may have more than the other. But even if you have that personal, experience or feelings that you have towards the person you had babies with, and it could be true. That's not for you to throw on your children. That's not for them to hear that come out of your mouth. Because then they take on that. And they believe that. And then they're going to be living that even if it did not happen to them because they didn't experience that. When they become a certain age, they will have their own experience with their father or their mother. They will have their own experience. You don't have to relay that to them. Don't give them all that baggage to carry at a young age. So that's why it's important not to, as parents, to confide and express yourself about their mother or their father in front of them, especially when you're upset. Especially when you're upset. When you're upset, you say some things that are true and some things that are not true. And that child is taking it in. They're taking it in. They're feeding off it. And then they're going to school or they're talking to their friends, especially with their friends. My dad is a liar. My dad don't want to come get me. He don't want to come pick me up. And I'm not saying, I can feel that someone is saying right now to themselves, well, I'm not lying for him. I'm not going to tell my child a lie. Because if it's true, it's true. But let's pause right there. Because you don't have to lie to your child. But you don't have to put the experience on them. Like I say, when they come to a certain age, they come into that experience of their own, if it is facts. But if it's not facts, or that's your personal feeling you have towards that person, keep it to yourself. Or call a friend, and we're going to talk about that. And I hope that I cleared that up. I remember, I don't have this on paper, but I'm going to say it. I remember when my oldest daughter was about 7 years old. And her dad used to say, talk to her on the phone and say, and this is an example. You saying, what should I tell my child? I'm going to tell you what I had to do. Apply it the way that you want to, handle your situation the way you want to. I'm just speaking for my situation. My daughter was about 7 years old, and I was bathing her. And her dad will call, be here sometimes, not be here, missing in action. Oh, he's back. Okay, so he was calling on the phone around this time, and he told her one day that he was going to come pick her up. That was his thing to get it. Well, I can't say that. That's my experience. I'm not going to say that. But he will tell her that he will come and pick her up. And she would be so excited. My dad is going to come. My dad is going to come. And my experience with him doing that, I was telling myself, and I never said it out my mouth, but I'm telling myself in my mind, he's not going to come get my baby. I know he's not going to come. Okay. So by this time, night, it's nighttime. It's 8 o'clock at night. And I had my baby in the bathtub, and I'm bathing her. And she said, well, why he always tell me that and he doesn't come? I did not tell her because he's a liar. I did not tell her because that's what he do. And your daddy ain't never gonna come get you. I did not tell her that. What I told her is, the next time you talk to him, ask him. That gave her her own experience. And y'all, I wanted to go off. I wanted to bash him in front of my baby because I was upset. And in my situation, I didn't want her to choose sides because I knew from my experience and how my mother taught me with my father, and I'm going to share that story with you at the end of this. But I told her, sweetheart, the next time you talk to your dad, ask him why he didn't come pick you up, or he keeps telling you that he's coming to get you, but he doesn't come. And when that would happen, as a mother, I wanted to do something for her. I wanted to make her smile, or I gave her a little treat that night, or, make her feel better about the situation. But anyways, I said that story to share with you guys what I had to do instead of bashing, using that bashing and getting her involved at the age of 7. And it was tough. It was tough, because I was pregnant with my daughter at 15 years old. I gave birth to her when I was 16 years old. And at this time, she was 7. I was probably in my early 20s. And I had to grow up quick. But, and that was hurtful. So guess what? That's another situation, because that was my experience with him. And I could have pushed that over to her and have her angry about that. Well, hey, she didn't get pregnant at 15. I did. And I made that choice, who I allowed to get me pregnant. It wasn't her decision. And why would I make her carry my weight? Okay? Let's go down to the next one. Next bullet. Kids controlling the household. One or both parents are answering questions the kids ask about their marriage, about their relationship, about their co-parenting, about the kid's mother or the kid's father. The kids are asking questions, and the parents are sitting there talking and answering questions as if this child is an adult. We can't do that. We can't do that. Because then that goes back to that scenario I just gave. You giving your personal opinions and experience to this child. And we have to allow the child to have their own experience. Okay, I'm going to read what I have here. When you do these things, the child loses respect for the other parent. And it causes the child to act out because they assume they have just as a say-so in the house as the parents do. That goes for everything. If you allow this child to do these things and you bring this child into your marriages, your relationships, your co-parenting, etc., them jokers gonna think they have some say-so in that house. And because they think that, this here finna happen with the parents. They gonna go toe-to-toe to make sure this child that they have invited into this is having a voice, is getting their way, and have a say-so in the household. It can be anything, you guys. You asking them to do their chores. That parent that's confiding in them, they'll do anything that parent tell them to do. But the one that's confiding and that's bashing the other parent, that other parent is going to have HELL with getting the child to do what they tell them to do, because the respect level is lost. When this happens, the parent or parents will be asking themselves, why is he or she so rebellious and disrespectful? Now, I'm not saying that this is the only reason why kids are rebellious or disrespectful, because we all know that there are many, many reasons why. I'm using this as an example in reference to the topic of discussion. A lot of times the parents have given them the okay to be disrespectful to the other parent. That's what we just talked about, okay? Sometimes we're giving them the okay. 2 little points right here. Keep kids, young adults out of your marriage. You keep everybody else out your marriage too, but we're talking about children. So keep kids and adult children out of your marriage. Vent to a friend. And not only any friend, you want to vent to a friend that's in your best interest. Not that friend that every answer is to leave them. Or every answer is not in the child's best interest. You want a friend that's going to hold you accountable. You want a friend that's going to be in your best interest. You want a friend that's going to be in your child's best interest. I'm going to read this. This is another bullet. If the mother is okay with the child disrespecting the head, the mother got to analyze why she doesn't respect the head, and vice versa. But I use this sentence talking to mothers because if you're married, your husband is the head. Whether you are a joint family or this is you're married to the person you had children with. If there's no father in the home, I'm going to say this, and please be nice, but I'm going to say it. If there is not a father in the home, mama, you have to respect their father. Not as your husband, not as your man, but as the father of your children, you have to respect him. Now, this is going to hurt, but I was a young girl, and I'm going to share my story with you guys at the end of this. You want your children to respect him, because at the end of the day, that's their father. That doesn't mean if he's a deadbeat dad, they have to deal with him like if he completely neglect them. And I'm saying he, but it could be a woman too. But if he completely neglects his children, they don't ever want to deal with him. That's their experience. And that's okay. They don't have to. If that's a choice, they have that choice. But mama, you have to allow them to experience that. You cannot respect the fact that the fact that this man is their father. Because if he was absent and he comes back and want to have a relationship with that child is a young adult, or that child is still in your household, guess what? It may be in the best intentions for them to have a relationship with their father. That's not your experience, Mom. If he left you, you raised them children by yourself, you mad, you angry, and he comes back when they're the age of 25 or whenever and wants to have a relationship with them, you respecting him when they were children would teach them to respect him when they become adults. And that's real talk. That's real talk. We cannot damage what could be in the future because what we're presently going through. That's why you got to respect the fact that those are your children's father. I'm going to read this part again. That touched me so much because I'm telling you, I got to get down to my story. If the mother is okay with the child disrespecting the head, okay, mama, you got to analyze why you don't respect the head. Okay, let's try this again because my Wi-Fi and phone storage is full, but let's go. If the mother is okay with disrespecting the head, mama got to analyze why she don't respect the head. Get clear of the root problem, the why, address it, correct it, own it, be accountable, and practice correcting it. Practice correcting it. If the work cannot be done or she's totally not willing to work, then there's a decision that needs to be made. The children will leave the nest, and if you don't respect and enjoy your spouse with the kids in home, you're definitely not going to enjoy them when they leave. It should be an honor as a wife to respect her husband, and vice versa. Husband the same. Should apply as well. Okay. Now, we're going to talk about moms. This is for you. We're still talking about the kids controlling the household, but this bullet is about moms controlling the father when it's pertaining to the children. Controlling how he spends time with the kids. Now, ladies, this is for us. For those mothers that are dealing with control, you cannot dictate how he spends time with the kids. I am not saying not to address the issue if he's not spending time at all. I mean, you have to address that. Or taking them to inappropriate places. Now, mothers that's dealing with co-parenting, his girlfriend house is not an inappropriate place. Okay? Especially if he's there with the child, it is not an inappropriate place. And if it is, you need to, if it's legit is, you need to have that conversation with him on why you think it is an inappropriate place. Not just because you don't want your children around his girlfriend. Moms, you can't control that. You can try to, but honestly, save yourself some peace. Control yourself and get to the root problem on why it bothers you if he spends time with the children at his girlfriend's house. That's the real problem. You want him on a schedule and in the image of how you see him spending time with the kids. And this is for all mothers. I'm not talking about just co-parenting right now. I'm talking about if you're married, if you're in a relationship, if y'all are under the same roof, or you're co-parenting. A lot of times mothers want to see him on a schedule or in an image of how she sees him spending times with the kids. For an example, you may say, he hasn't taught my child how to ride the bike yet. My baby has had this bike since her birthday, and he hadn't taken time out to teach her how to ride. Here's another example. I see all these other families walking and riding bikes together, and he won't even walk with us in the evening. Now let's clear this up. I'm all for family time. I'm not saying that. However, You all, however you guys agree to spend it, I'm all for that. I am not saying he shouldn't have to do these things as a family. I am saying that he's not a puppet that you control, like pushing a button to get him to do what you want him to do. Maybe he don't like to take walks. Have you asked him? Have you asked him what are some of his ideas that he'll like to do for family time? And if he say, well, let's do a movie night, don't respond with, that's all you want to do is watch a movie because you'd rather sit in front of the TV and not go walking with us. That's control. That's control, mothers. If you want to take an evening walk with the children, you take an evening walk with the kids. And then you guys come back and have movie night with dad. You can't compare your family with someone else's family. Focus on your own and flourish your own family. Here's another example that I put in here. If he takes them to the park and he's sitting on the bench watching the kids play, I heard women say he's not even interacting with them. But however, ladies, if you were the one sitting on the bench, there would be an excuse on why you're sitting on the bench watching the children. Let's be real. You'll say something like, I took them to the park, but I was tired, girl. I sat down and I just watched them play. Why isn't it okay for him to sit down and to watch them play? Now, I'm not saying that he should not interact with the kids before y'all take off. I'm not saying that he should not interact. But I am saying that you can't control and dictate every move he make on spending time with the children. I know you want him to show affection. The kids need that. I'm not excusing that. You want him to interact. I'm not excusing that. But in this one case, if he goes to the park and he sits down, you can't ride him and dictate every moment. Okay? And vice versa, because if men are dealing with their children's mother. Okay, so here's my story I've been waiting to tell you guys. This is in conclusion, and I'm going to read it. When I was a child, I didn't understand why my mom would always tell us, at the end of the day, that's your daddy, and you'll always respect him. My dad was completely absent from the home. I don't remember too many good times spent with my dad because when I was a young kid, drugs took my dad out of the household. And when I say took him out, he allowed drugs to take him out of the household. So yes, I am a fatherless child. I was angry, I was hurt emotionally and physically. My mom would pick my dad up from the drug house, dig him out of any drug hole, bring him to the house, make him shower, put him on clean clothes that she brought, and feed him every holiday so that he would be with his children during that time. As a child, I enjoyed the time spent, but it never really hit me on her why for doing this until I was around the age 15 or 16. I understood then, and I understand now, her why. Her why was building character in her children, teaching us to respect our father in spite of, and preparing us for the future to handle our own situations like this one. And I tell you till this day, all of my siblings love and care for my dad now that he's unable to care for himself. We have to build and understand our why of doing things. I'm going to say that again. We have to build. We as parents have to build with the understanding of our why for doing these things. Stop excusing this disrespect that your children are doing because you are mad or you're still mad. My mom could have been furious, and I know she was. Internally, she was hurt. She got 4 children, raising them on her own. And this man that she married promised her that he was going to be there. And he allowed drugs to take him out of the household. But my mother knew the legacy that she wanted to leave behind. Any one of my siblings, including myself, could have turned our back on our dad. My dad had a stroke in 2013. He cannot live by himself. But my mother built something in us that, 1, broke a generational curse, and for 2, taught us how to deal with our own situations like this, and 3, taught us how to care for our dad in her absence. My mom died 2013. My dad had a stroke 2013. We got to stop, and I speak to, when I'm saying these things, I'm holding myself accountable too. Because this hits with me so, ooh, the enemy don't want this message to get out, but it's going to get out. I'm going to sum this up because we made it. We made it. Stop excusing the disrespect of the kids because you're mad or you are still mad at the situation you had with the father or the mother. Stop excusing the child from disrespecting them because it's justifying your hurt or you're still mad about the situation or you currently are mad. What type of legacy are you trying to leave? I talked about my mother and the legacy that she left. Ask yourself, what type of legacy are you trying to leave? And what type of generational curses are you trying to break? Do the work. Break generational curses. Whether relationships would be mended with your children and their dads or their mothers. Break generational curses by doing all the things that we discussed throughout this segment, handling the situations differently, and break generational curses